Thank you for watching this Last Mile Profits video.
DHL has done a deal with CTT, which is the Express Post, CTT Express in Spain. Something really unusual in this deal, so watch on to find out more.
Last Mile Profits is brought to you by Parcel pending by Quadient.
Gary, you picked up on an interesting tidbit of information recently, which I quite liked. And the story is that DHL eCommerce division is teaming up with CTT from Spain, because there's a few CTTs around, to work together on delivery in Iberia. Do you want to share a bit more about this?
Sure. Well, I mean, it was a little news article and it caught my attention, not particularly that I'm fascinated by the sort of Spanish home delivery market, even though I do live in Portugal. But there was something in it that we've talked before about consolidation. How will consolidation come? And, you think about one company buying another, the big moves like FedEx buying TNT and, all that kind of stuff. But this was actually a bit more subtle, that DHL e-commerce in Spain has been trying to build B2C capability and has clearly struggled and has decided that its best chance of getting a foothold in the Iberian B2C market is by handing their volume off to CTT for delivery. Interestingly, at the same time, CTT, and I know you're probably a delivery recipient of theirs, they are clearly having difficulty delivering to businesses for whatever reason, or it's not their niche. So they've kind of decided to stick to their own knitting, if you like. One's going to focus on B2C, which is CTT, and I think it's put in Spain and in Portugal, it's all Iberia. And then DHL e-commerce is going to be more like DHL Express. They're going to focus on B2B deliveries on behalf of both companies and not really attempt to build a B2C capability. I thought it was a very interesting way of dividing and ruling the market, if you like.
Yeah, I think it's a spin because the reality is, for those who don't remember, DHL was once quite a big player with a lot of businesses throughout Europe. And there was a moment at which they decided that actually the domestic businesses were not so exciting. They closed some of them, sold some of them. And I think now they really regret that. It's a bit late to do too much on the M&A side, but I think there've been a number of deals, because we discussed, I think, the one in Italy with Poste Italiana, there's one in Austria, and several others, actually. And I think what they're doing is trying to use partnerships to make up for the fact that they don't have their own footprint. But I agree with you. What's interesting about this one, I don't think I've seen one quite like this, where it's a split of B2B and B2C.
Yeah, so the way I kind of think about it is, you think about the UK market. If you were a traditional B2B delivery company before the explosion of e-commerce and internet shopping and everything, all this sort of stuff, you were going to try to deliver to about 2.5 million business addresses. I think they're around about 2.7. At the time, it was 2.3, and I believe now they're about 2.7 million registered UK business addresses, shops, factories, offices, that kind of stuff. And at the same time, there's 27 million home addresses, 10 times as many. So the logistics of dealing with a finite audience, when probably of that 2.7 million, many of them won't be having parcel delivery. So you're probably going to an industrial estate, consolidated in one area, doing 50 deliveries and going home. Suddenly you decide you're going to go to every home in the every home in the town. You're going down every street in the town. It's a completely different proposition. So why, as the Last Mile Profits, do we care? Because I think it's like, if lockers had been there 20 years ago, and that was like InPost have done, that would have been like a much more sort of easy transition from B2B to B2C. You would have had 10,000, 20,000 extra locations to go to. You would have built a network around that, and you would never have had to build out this huge, expensive infrastructure to try to deliver to every home. So you're kind of unpicking all the inefficiency that's been created by having 7 vans go down my street every day or every week, instead of one red van going down once a day.
And I think, Gary, in the same way that you've experienced this in Portugal, I spend almost half of the year now in Spain, and I have to say, a home delivery is very challenging. Trying to match the moment when the postie or courier arrives and when I'm at home, or to put it more poignantly, I sit at home for 3/4 of the day and still don't get my parcel, means that, this is a real challenge. And that's why, I have to admit, when I get an opportunity, I send to a parcel locker or Pudo, because frankly, it's the only thing that works for me with my limited, I have to admit, to be fair, with my limited Spanish.
Yeah, so I've had very mixed experiences here. So sometimes with CTT themselves, it works perfectly. I get a parcel, it's brought to the door, they ring the bell and they hand it over. Other times they literally email me, don't even try, and they take it straight to the post office, which is in the next village over. So it's about a 5 kilometre drive to go and pick that up. My favourite moment was I was expecting something to be delivered. The doorbell rang. I went out to the front gate to meet them. There were two guys in a little van delivering for CTT, and they had rung my doorbell to ask me directions. So of all the people to try to ask for directions in Portugal, they chose the English expat that had only been here less than a couple of years, and I had no clue either what they're saying or where they wanted to go. So yeah, a mixed experience, I would say.
So the moral of the story is CTT posties, please do not stop at Gary Winter's place to get directions. But listen, before we end this video, there was another part to the story which is a bit different, but it's about Deutsche Post planning to do, how many was it? It was 30,000?
I think they're moving up to 18,000 or 20,000, or might have even been 30,000. I can't remember. It was a colossal number.
Plan to have 30,000 lockers.
30,000.
Now, again, a bit of history here. For those who haven't seen this before on the Last Mile Profits video, Deutsche Post are actually half of the parents that invented the parcel locker, Kemmer being the other, I believe. And although they did that, they then put in a very, I would say, complicated way to be able to use the machines. You had to go and register yourself at a post office and show IDs and so on and so forth. So they didn't exactly, I think it was a case of over-engineered process. So they didn't have too many parcels or too many lockers vis-a-vis what they could have had. Now they've decided to go hell for leather. I reckon it could be a little bit, Gary, linked to the fact that they've lost their patent protection. Or What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, they're all expired. All the patents are expired. But I think it's just generally the direct. My personal view is, I'm not going to agree with you, it's the general direction of the market. People have to save cost. The market continues to grow. Even when retail is flat, the substitution between high street retail, bricks and mortar retail to online retail is still there. And we can't have an infinite number of vehicles delivering to our homes. Something has to give. And everyone's looking for the most efficient way to do it. Everyone's looking for the most cost-effective means of having a good experience for customers. And we both agree that parcel lockers are a big part of it. So DHL are pioneering in Germany, and hopefully other markets will follow suit.
So finally, we know what we can agree on, which is that parcel lockers are the future. Gary, really great discussion. Maybe we'll get some comments from someone in the know at DHL, Deutsche Post. But anyway, it was great talking. Dear viewers, please comment below. And if you've liked the video, please like and subscribe because it helps us keep these vids free for you.
Last Mile Profits is brought to you by Parcel Pending by Quadient.